Hello and welcome to Business Africa. I am Afolake Oyinloye. The top stories this week. Tough times ahead of Ghana's new president Nana Akufo-Addo. China's economy maintains steady sound growth in 2016. And Senegal rice revolution is taking shape. Nana Akufo-Addo has officially begun work as president of Ghana. The new head of state will have to tackle enormous challenges facing the economy. Earlier last year, Ghana sought some $918 million bailout from international lenders at the height of its challenges. According to economists in the country, the government would have to take and implement clear policies to resolve the many issues that lie ahead. Here is more with John David Mahamley and Kenneth Karuri.
The swearing in of Nana Akufo-Addo as Ghana's fifth president on January 7th has been greeted with excitement and also optimism despite the nation's economic gloom. The new Ghanaian head of state has promised that economic issues will be the center of his mandate, including a pledge to protect the public purse by getting value for money on services and reducing taxes.
The adventurer in you, it is time to imagine and to dream again. Time to try that business idea again. We will reduce taxes to recover the momentum of our economy. The doors of Ghana are open again. The shutters are up again. There could not be a better opportunity to make in Ghana and to make it in Ghana. Ghana is open for business again.
But the 72-year-old former human rights lawyer will have to contend with conditions set by the International Monetary Fund following a 2015 bailout.
The government should come out very clearly to state its relationship with the IMF. Is he exiting the IMF program or is continuing with the IMF program? That would define whether those tax reforms would take place or not.
While the average growth rate reached 15% in 2016, Ghana's economic growth of 4% attained last year is not enough to boost adequate development, according to financial experts. The West African state has been facing strong headwinds that have caused growth to slow, public sector debt to rise, and the country's currency is steady to fall. Nevertheless, Ghanaians are hopeful life will be better under the new administration. They are banking on the economy to rebound and return to the high growth rates, which were experienced when the economy was booming.
To shed more light on that issue, we have an economist on the line from Cape Coast University, Ghana, Dr. Kachi Jan. Welcome to the program. Now, what policies must the new government pursue to revive the Ghanaian economy? And what are the tough decisions the new president would have to take to kickstart the economy?
Look at the promises that the government has made, and if we want to keep to that promise, it means that many other things enshrined in the IMF program will be derailed, and that will actually affect revenue mobilization, and that will derail the benefits that the economy is enjoying now. So I think that will be one of the toughest decisions to take, because already the government, when in opposition, has seriously made the indication that when they come, they will revise or they will not go with the IMF program. But as it is now, it is difficult not to go with the IMF program. So I think the toughest decision that they ought to take is to stay with the IMF program. And beyond that, there is the need to rather look at strategic development of factories in the country rather than trying to ensure that there is factory in every district. Factories which are not based on economic indications will not be sustainable. So I believe that the government should be focusing on how they should target strategic factories for the countries, and that will begin the growth prospects and the employment generation of the country.
The new president, Nana Akufo-Addo, talks of reducing taxes despite the debt incurred by the government. Is this sustainable, and would the IMF allow the taxes to be reduced?
Drastic removal of taxes, as they talk about, will be very difficult. to sustain, because that will be wiping away huge revenue source of the country, and you cannot within a very short period of time engage in removal and reduction of taxes that will generate or empower business development across the country, and that will rake in more revenue than we have been collecting. So this approach is very risky, and it ought to be looked at very carefully. If not so, there will be a lot of derailment in the financial management of the country. So I do not think that that will augur well for our debt management, because as we speak currently, our revenue to GDP is just a little below 20%, which means that there is a huge gap to fill, either through deficit financing, by borrowing. The level of borrowing depends on the amount of revenue you can mobilize. The level of borrowing or your acceptance by creditors to even lend to you depends on the security of your revenue. So if you are going to jeopardize with the security of revenue by reducing taxes drastically, especially when some of these taxes are already used to the economic management of the country, I believe it is something that ought to be looked at. Of course, one or two taxes could be looked at and then realigned somehow, but the difficulty is that it is definitely going to derail a lot of things.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. We'll be taking you to Senegal, where the government is determined to end rice import right after this break.